Hello, 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 Noi here. Welcome to another episode of Love and Deep Space, and today we're a little early hanging out at the loading screen, but that's okay. We have quite a long way to go. And I just want to chat up with you guys since I'm doing this on a weekly basis and it's been a while since I made a video. I want to know what you guys are up to. How was your week, you guys? What did you guys do? My week, well, the highlight of my week was that I watched a movie. If you guys know anime or if you guys watched anime, I watched Demon Slayer Infinity Castle this week. It was fun. It was really fun. I want to watch it again, to be honest. I loved it. That was my only good highlight of the entire month, actually, because your girl's been going through a lot lately. A lot. So, but it's okay. I've been trying to be very, very patient lately. I've been as patient as possible with my life, with everything else, because I think I've just reached a point in my life where I'm just like, instead of being worried, instead of being anxious, instead of, feeling bad about things, I'm just like, okay, whatever, let's move on. I don't know. Maybe I am just really detached at the moment, where it just doesn't, the fact that I even lost subscribers, I just noticed that. I just lost 2 or 3 subscribers. And I was like, I didn't even say anything offensive yet. But not like I was planning to say anything offensive. I was just going to have an essay. I don't know, you guys. So instead of being like really worried and really like sad or anxious about things that actually make me sad and anxious, I am trying to take it as, okay, like what can I do? Just chill about things. I don't know I don't know if I've really reached that point, but yeah. Also, one of the reasons why I think I like to talk a little bit about my life instead of just giving you a direct essay, which I generally do sometimes, but I like to weave in a little bit of my life, a little bit of, my thoughts, because I don't like that being very strict and formal, although I can do that, but I don't like being that impersonal. I started this channel to connect with people, and if I don't connect with people, then, it just feels like a waste. So, but do let me know if you guys enjoy knowing bits of my life. I think if I was a regular YouTuber, or like a day in my life YouTuber or something similar to that, I would probably be talking about things in detail, not about like, but particularly about my life, or just like, watching the movie, whether I enjoyed the movie or not, and all of that stuff. But I'll spare you guys. Also, why can't I not see this in black color? It's weird. Why is there just a white preview? Why is there not a black dress preview? Huh. They've never done that before, have they? Interesting dress, but like, the shoes are metal. The shoes are just a bit, They're kind of different. Like, I wasn't expecting. I thought it'd be like, gladiator sandals, because very ancient Egypt-ish look, but we don't have that yet. Anyhow, I think instead of wasting more time, I should directly get into an essay. Sometimes I just have fun talking, and sometimes I don't realize. I'm still checking out this update, you guys, so don't mind me. But don't worry, we will get into the essay. Don't worry, we're there. We're going to get there. And okay, I was just worried that I might have missed something from the shop. Turns out I don't think I missed something. Every time I look at this shop, it just feels new. All right, this is the event shop. What is this? Blessing charm. Huh. Interesting. The same stuff, the poses, the chocolates, the text bubble. Yeah, it's the usual. Also, I don't know what I'm going to do with 477 of those crystal shards. They're just sitting there. They're just sitting there waiting for the 6th ally, if at all we ever have a pulse hunter. Now I'm just beginning to be scared if we'll ever have that or not. But here's hoping that we do, because like I don't know what will happen if we don't have. I think we're going to have a bit of a riot if there is no 6th ally, because we're all waiting. I'm not like very specifically like bent upon the whole idea. It's just that I enjoy the idea. I think it's cool. My back shot brings all the boys to the yard, and they're like a little bizarre, and damn right. Just a little bizarre. I could teach them, but they take it too far. I'm just kidding, you guys. Fun fact about me is that I enjoy writing parodies and satires. So this is just a cheeky little take on the situation, just to make light of it. I don't want to be too serious about the situation, because this is not going to be the first time that this happens. We're going to have this over and over and over in many different shapes and forms and colors. So might as well just be comfortable making fun of this. But I will get serious though. No surprise here that the release of Zane's third myth in Love and Deepspace has reignited controversy around the portrayal of intimacy in otome games. Now, the scene is framed as a consummation ritual, and while I do not know the full story of the myth, based on whatever I've seen from the trailer, this is what I have gleaned. That it looks to be as some form of a consummation ritual, probably to, I think, anchor something. I'm not sure, based on whatever the trailer depicted. The whole ritual is fully clothed, stylized, and narrative driven, yet it's implied intimacy. Particularly a fleeting backshot angle went viral and quickly drew a lot of fire. Now, comparisons to titles like Brown Dust 2 and Nike, Goddess of Victory, or whatever that's supposed to be, that title, flooded social media alongside accusations that women and their games are getting a free pass. Now, this refers to the video post that the community post that I did with the screenshot of the video titled Love and Deepspace Getting a Free Pass, Double Standards. Now, I watched the video, and I have to say that it was respectful to a certain extent, but then we went into, and no, nothing against the gentleman for making that video, whatever, they decided, they made the video, they saw the trailer, and then yeah, so they were pretty respectful about it, but in the end they asked a question. Why were women allowed to have a game like this? Why don't they have a game like this? Why don't they have a game with these intimate scenes while women are able to get, games like these with scenes like these, 18 plus adult scenes? Now, we'll get to that. Don't worry, we're getting to that. But to understand whether these accusations hold weight, the conversation requires nuance, not outrage. So conserve your energy, you guys. We are not done here. And for context and comparisons, Critics argue that Lads is worse than games like Nikke or Brown Dust 2, which are known for overt sexualization, skimpy outfits, and objectifying camera angles. Yet these comparisons flattens essential differences. Because you see, in Nikke and similar titles, sexualization is front and center. It is part of the marketing strategy, often detached from story or character development. By contrast, Love and Deep Space positions intimacy as a story driven milestone, earned through relationship progression. While Zen Myth may be spicier than usual for an otome game, it is still contextualized as emotional intimacy, not commodified spectacle. Calling the two equivalent ignores intent. One depicts women as consumable objects, and the other offers players, well, mostly women, narrative agency and emotional immersion. So to say that clothed intimacy within a romance is worse than a game built around near nude domination mechanics is not only a weak comparison, it borders on absurd. Now, next we have the double standards claim. Now, in the video itself, the video that gentleman posted, there was this notion that women get away with romance games like Lads, while men can't have their equivalent without facing social backlash. But this framing erases history. For decades, the majority of games created were catered to men's fantasies, whether it was through action, conquest, or outright sexualization, while romance-driven narratives were dismissed as niche or unprofitable. Nobody prevented male-focused games, romance games, from existing, because the publishers simply chose not to fund them because they believed men wanted only domination on fan service. It is now only after the success of Lads and other otome titles that we hear, but very specifically Lads, because, well, it is one of the most high-tech, high-quality games out there. And it is not for men, but for women. Now you get to hear stuff like, why don't men have these games? The sudden uproar is less about injustice and more about belated envy. When women finally have one mainstream space where their fantasies are centered, immediately its legitimacy is questioned. Why do women have these games? Why don't men have these games? Well, who stopped men from having these games in the first place? They had decades before we even got something like Lads. So where was this outcry? And then this also begs the question, right? It also begs the question as to, okay, you want a game like this, cool. What kind of a game do you want? Okay, like, what do you want? Do you want domination? Do you want fan service? Do you want to absolutely objectify and sexualize female characters? Like, what do you want? Do you want a romance game where relationship is equal and you have to actually love the female character, and it's not just treat a female character as a Pokemon that you would acquire, upon getting a Pokeball or whatever. So, so here's the question: what is it? When I think one of the points that gentleman also raised in the video was why they're not allowed to have, like, men are not allowed to have really good looking women or very skimpy outfit clad female characters. And the question is, why are men not allowed to have games like that? Why are you not allowed to have games like that? And it's a genuine question. I'm not asking out of sarcasm. I'm genuinely asking, like, why do you think that men are not allowed to have those kind of games when they are actually the majority of the consumers and the players and the gaming industry majorly caters to them. So what is the fact that is stopping developers from not making those kind of games for them? They should be, they should have made something like Lads for Men for ages ago. So like exactly what is stopping them? I have some points to bring up, and I will. You guys can decide if it's worth making a connection or not. You see, this is something that I brought up previously as well. It was about, what was it about? Yeah, it was about GTA. Now, GTA, in that game, you can have drugs, you can run over cops and people, you can run over prostitutes, all of that. So, you know, and do a lot of other shady shit that you probably cannot do in real life, or it would be criminal if you tried to do it in real life. And kids or boys as young as like 5 wanted to play that game. And I remember while reading an article about it that a bunch of feminist activists were pretty against the whole idea because the depiction was pretty bad. And the way the story, I wouldn't say the entire story, I would say that, you know, the point where they took the cars out and ran over prostitutes and lots of other things were pretty misogynistic in nature, like very misogynistic in nature. And how that would have a real life effect was also, you know, spoken about very, very strictly. Now, another point I would like to bring in was that there was actually a game on Steam with about, I think, 1 million or 250,000 likes and saves. And the whole story was basically about this man whose mother left him. And now his goal is to essay every single woman in the neighborhood and control them and dominate them and abuse them. And I don't remember the name of the game, but this was brought to light. And there wasn't a huge uproar about it, which was really strange. Instead, people, the women got together. I wouldn't even say people, women got together and were like, get this game out of Steam, like get it out. And they had to work really, really hard to get that game off Steam, but it was still visible. It took a while. Steam did not do it immediately. It took a long, long while for Steam to like actually take action over it. But yeah, so that is also a game that exists with 500,000, you know, likes and saves and stuff. So what kind of stories do we actually want? That's also a question. Why do you think that? I'm not assuming anything, I'm just asking. There was this example. There are 2 examples here. So you decide. You guys tell me. I don't know. I'm just asking questions here. Do I think all men are shitty, or do I think all men need games like these or want games like these? I hope not, because men are not monolithic creatures. Hence, I don't think it would also be fair to paint them all in with the same brush. But then, why is this sudden uproar at not having games exactly when Lads appears, when we have something for ourselves? That's exactly when they seem to have noticed, hey, wait a second, how do we not have this? I know you guys should ask yourselves, why do you not have games like these? So yeah, sure, go ahead, do ask that question, but don't try to blame another game for that. We have had our thing after a really, really long time. It's unfair for you to look at us and be like, well, how dare you have a game like this and we don't? You guys were sleeping or what all this while? It just looks like that. It's like Lads came and then the alarms rang and then you guys just woke up from your deep sleep and then realized that, wait a second, we really don't have games for us. Next, I would like to talk about Gooner games. Oh, the infamous Gooner game and fan behavior. Another criticism is that fan behavior makes lads a Gooner game. And we see examples of this all over Twitter, where fan fictions are cited as proof that lads is no different from games that market themselves as softcore fan service. But equating every form of intimacy or desire with gooning is intellectually lazy. Okay? Writing fan fiction, simping for characters, or expressing attraction to fictional figure is not the same as the exploitative consumption loop of pornified gooner culture. More importantly, fan behavior does not equal developer intent. By that logic, every fandom with thirsty fans from anime to K-pop would be labeled Gooner Industries. Love and Deepspace frames intimacy as part of a relationship journey, not as a consumable spectacle. To collapse that nuance because of loud fans is unfair and reductive. Now, also, I'd like to point out again the same point that I made ages ago, where there is that comparison between warhouses and warhouses for men and what is that? Fantasy fiction romance for women. It is an absolutely horribly depraved comparison, and I will not stand by it even now. Moving on, we have romance versus objectification. Another rebuttal often heard is, lads is just a dating sim with hot men. How is this any different from games with hot women? The answer lies in agency. In games like Nikki, women's bodies are posed, commodified, and animated for consumption. The player's agency is to look and control, not to build meaningful intimacy. But in lads, intimacy is earned through dialogues, choices, and narrative milestones. The MC is not just a passive object, but an active participant in shaping the relationship. Equating these two, approaches, narrative intimacy versus commodified objectification, ignores what women have historically been denied: the chance to see themselves as subjects of desire rather than objects of consumption. Now, another point would be, would it matter to us if men had a male version of lads? To be honest, I think we would care less, because that means that they would look less at what lads are actually doing for us than what their game is doing for them. In any case, the idea that, it would affect us assumes bad faith in an argument, because women critique games not because romance exists, but because of how it exists, whether characters are given depth or stripped to body parts. You see, if men were given a genuine romance game with emotional storytelling, intimacy, progression, and respect for consent, there's little evidence women would object. What they criticize are games that market commodified flesh as content, not games that portray intimacy. And I mentioned previous examples to you guys. The reality is that men could absolutely have their own lads. The barrier is not women's supposed outrage, but the cultural stigma that men themselves face around vulnerability and the reluctance of developers to fund unproven models. Now, ultimately, the controversy boils down to agency. In male-targeted fan service games, the player consumes designed objects. In lads, players immerse in relationships where intimacy is contextualized as choice, story, and trust. To equate these is to erase the difference between objectification and emotional agency. But yes, critique of otome intimacy is valid. Different players will have different comfort levels, and cultural standards vary. But dismissing lads as just a gooner game or crying double standards only reveals the irony. when men have had endless access to commodified fantasies. The moment women receive intimacy and agency, it is treated as a problem. So, in conclusion, the uproar behind or around Zayn's third myth is less about fairness and more about discomfort with the shift in perspective. Men have always had games tailored to their fantasies, from action dominance to objectified fan service. Women are only beginning to see games where their desires, romance, intimacy, agency are centered, and even then, sparingly. To equate a clothed, story-driven intimacy scene with the explicit commodification in Nikke or Brown Dust 2 is not only unfair, but also erases the distinction between being a subject of desire and being an object of consumption. So maybe instead of, constantly shouting about double standards, the most honest question we can ask is, what kinds of intimacy and desires do we want games to explore? And are we willing to critique them fairly based on intent, framing, and agency? So there you go. This video is already too long. Probably in my next video, we talk about how we have Orientalism and all of that stuff. I'll make a very short 5-minute video then. But for now, this is it. Thank you so much for sticking through if you have. And take care of yourselves and all the best for your Zayn pulls. Go get them, girls. Get your fantasy come through. This man is judging me. This man never stops judging me. Silas, just stop it. No, this man is totally judging me. Yeah, no, shut up, Silas. I've had a long day today. Anyhow, see you guys in the next video. Thank you so much for watching. This is Nori signing off. Bye-bye. Silas, say bye-bye. Be a nice person. He's not. Bye, you guys.